Welcome back to Psychology Hub, where we take a deep dive into the workings of the human mind to uncover the psychology behind our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. If you've recently gone through a breakup or know someone who's experiencing one, this video is going to offer some much-needed insights. Breakups can be incredibly painful and challenging, and their psychological impact can be overwhelming. But why does the end of a relationship hurt so much? Why do our emotions seem so volatile during this time? And more importantly, how does psychology guide us on the path to healing? In this video, we'll explore the psychological effects of breakups, the emotional roller coaster that follows, and how you can better understand and manage these feelings. If you've ever felt lost, confused, or heartbroken after a breakup and wondered why things hurt so much or how to begin moving forward, I'm here to help you make sense of all of it. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of what's going on inside your brain and how to heal more effectively. Let's get started. When a relationship ends, whether it was unexpected or long anticipated, the first thing most of us feel is disbelief. It's hard to fathom that something so important to us is no longer a part of our lives. This is a natural response. Think of it as your brain's first reaction to a sudden loss. Loss is never easy, and when something, especially a person, that's been an integral part of your life is gone, your mind goes into defense mode. This is your brain's way of trying to protect you, but it also makes it difficult to process everything right away. This initial shock triggers a stress response. Your brain is now faced with an enormous change, and it struggles to understand what just happened. You may feel anxious, numb, or confused. You might even feel like you're in a fog, unable to think clearly. This response is like an emotional alarm going off in your system. It's normal to replay past conversations, events, and moments from your relationship over and over in an attempt to make sense of the situation. What's happening in this stage is your brain is trying to find meaning. This rumination, your mind's tendency to go over past events and emotions, is part of how the brain processes this shock. It's as if your brain wants to know what went wrong or how things could have been different. But the truth is that sometimes answers are hard to come by, and that's okay. This stage of shock can last anywhere from a few days to several weeks, depending on how long the relationship lasted and how deeply it affected you. The most important thing you can do during this time is to allow yourself to feel disoriented. It's normal to feel confused, and it's okay to not have everything figured out immediately. It's all part of the process. As the initial shock wears off, emotions can start to swing like a roller coaster. One moment, you may feel a sense of relief, especially if the relationship was toxic or emotionally draining. But just as quickly, you might feel intense sadness, anger, or guilt. This emotional turbulence can feel like a whirlwind that you can't escape from, and it's a common experience after breakups. Why does this happen? When we form attachments to someone, our brain releases chemicals like oxytocin, which is often referred to as the bonding hormone. Oxytocin plays a crucial role in creating feelings of closeness and attachment. This bonding is a fundamental part of how we form relationships. So, when that bond is suddenly severed, your brain experiences a withdrawal from this hormone. It's similar to how someone might feel withdrawal symptoms if they were to stop using a substance they've been dependent on. This can result in feelings of anxiety, sadness, and even loneliness. It's not just about losing the person, but also about the future you envisioned with them. The absence of this bond can leave a void that's hard to fill. It's important to understand that this emotional turbulence is a biological reaction that takes time to process. One of the most common struggles people face during and after a breakup is a hit to their self-worth. You might start questioning yourself. Why wasn't I good enough? What did I do wrong? These thoughts can come out of nowhere, making you feel insecure or unworthy of love. Psychologically speaking, rejection, especially in the context of a romantic relationship, is hardwired into our brains as a threat. Rejection, from an evolutionary standpoint, could once have meant isolation from a group or a partner, both of which would have put survival at risk. Because of this, rejection activates similar areas of the brain that are responsible for processing physical pain. Yes, you heard that right. Rejection can cause physical pain in the brain, and that's why breakups hurt so much. This is a crucial point. The pain you feel is real, but it's temporary. Your self-worth is not defined by one relationship or one person's decision. Although your confidence might take a hit during a breakup, it's important to remind yourself that this emotional pain will fade over time. It's also important to remember that healing is a process, and part of that process involves rediscovering your sense of self-worth. Another key part of the breakup experience is grieving. The grieving process after a breakup is often compared to the grief we experience when we lose a loved one, and for good reason. A breakup is a loss, not just of the person, but of the future, the plans, and the sense of self you had within that relationship. This grieving process can be just as intense, and it follows the same stages as grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. You might find yourself wishing you could go back to how things were, or feeling angry and betrayed by your ex. You might also feel numb, detached from the world around you, or as though you're stuck in an emotional fog. It's important to understand that there is no set timeline for grief. Everyone experiences it in their own way and at their own pace. If you find yourself obsessing over thoughts of your ex or feeling overwhelmed by sadness, it's okay to acknowledge those feelings. Don't judge yourself for feeling this way. Grief can take many different forms, and it's perfectly normal to feel the way you do. The important thing is to allow yourself to grieve, rather than trying to force yourself to move on too quickly. Now, when you're in the midst of emotional pain, it can be tempting to reach for coping mechanisms that might provide short-term relief. For example, some people may turn to unhealthy behaviors like excessive drinking, overeating, or obsessively texting their ex. While these behaviors may numb the pain temporarily, they don't contribute to long-term healing. Healthy coping mechanisms, on the other hand, help you process your emotions in a way that allows you to move forward. Healthy coping strategies include things like engaging in regular exercise, practicing mindfulness, journaling, or seeking therapy. Talking to supportive friends or family members can also help you gain perspective and feel less isolated. Mindfulness techniques like meditation and deep breathing exercises can also help you regain emotional balance. These practices teach you to accept your feelings without judgment, allowing you to process them without becoming overwhelmed by them. The goal is to create space between you and your emotions, so they no longer dictate your behavior or decisions. Social media adds another layer of complexity to breakups. In today's world, it's all too easy to stalk your ex's social media profiles or reach out to them, thinking it will help you find closure. But in reality, this often leads to emotional re-traumatization. Every time you check their posts or send a text, you're reopening the wound. Although it might feel comforting to stay connected, it actually prevents you from fully detaching and moving on. Setting boundaries is crucial during this time. That might mean unfollowing or muting your ex's social media accounts, even if it feels uncomfortable. This space allows you to emotionally detach, giving you the freedom to heal. It might be hard at first, but it's an essential step toward reclaiming your emotional independence. Now, let's talk about closure. We all crave it after a breakup, right? We want answers. We want to know what went wrong, why the relationship ended, or why they left. But sometimes, closure doesn't come in the form we expect. Sometimes we have to create our own closure. Instead of waiting for your ex to explain things, take control of the situation by finding closure within yourself. This means accepting that the relationship ended, recognizing that it was part of your life's journey, and understanding that every relationship teaches us something valuable. Even though it might be hard to see now, breakups are often opportunities for self-growth and discovery. The final step in this process is moving on. Moving on doesn't mean erasing the relationship or pretending it didn't matter. It means accepting what was, learning from it, and opening yourself up to new possibilities. With time, you'll see that the pain from the breakup was not the end of your story. It's simply a chapter that has closed. It's important to remember that it's okay to seek support during this time. Whether through therapy, talking with friends, or exploring other outlets for your emotions, you don't have to navigate this journey alone. Healing takes time, but with each passing day, you're getting closer to a new beginning, one where you're stronger and more self-aware than before. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope this discussion on breakups, healing, and understanding your emotions helped provide some clarity and comfort. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Psychology Hub for more content that helps you understand yourself and others on a deeper level. Take care, and remember, healing is a journey, but it's one you don't have to take alone. See you in the next video.